The internet and related technologies are changing many different industries. One of the first industries that got affected by the internet was the retail industry. With the rise of many different internet retailers, the question naturally became, how do they compete with local stores? So for example, we're still grappling with the idea of Amazon buying Whole Foods and how is it going to affect the grocery industry. Fortunately, I was one of the first ones to study this question of how do internet retailers compete with local stores. So when we looked at that question, the answer was quite puzzling. What we found out was, well, the internet stores or internet retailers or local stores are not always competing with the internet retailers. It depends on the products you're looking at. When we think about popular products that are easily findable in local stores as well as online, they're competing very fiercely. However, when we're talking about products that are more difficult to find in local stores, so niche products, they may be in the stores, but you just have to look a lot. That's where internet retailers got an upper hand, because it's so much easier to search on the web. That's where they actually dominate the local stores. Now, when we think about the changes in other industries with the internet, one of the recent changes we're seeing is the changes in the financial industry. So now we have platforms, online platforms like peer-to-peer lending platforms called Lending Club or Prosper, where you can go ask for money. You could borrow money from thousands of other people. So you go request for a loan, and then hundreds of other people actually fund this loan. And then when you return your money, you actually are disbursing this money to all these hundreds and thousands of people who loaned you the money. Now on the surface, these platforms, everybody got equal access to this platform as long as you have the internet. So it doesn't matter if you live in a small city or a big city, you can go to the platform, ask for a loan, and your loan gets funded, and you keep repaying the loan. But as we all know, this is not as simple as that. We can take a loan from the online platforms and still keep shopping, and if we find a better rate somewhere else, we could just replace this loan with this other loan. And that's where the question arises about what's the role of these local banks? Because we know local banks, they operate mostly locally. So they try to give you an interest rate based on the local market conditions. And that's the question we're trying to answer here. Do local markets actually matter for these borrowers of online loans? And what we find is that, well, yes. If you come from a more competitive market structure, so meaning if you have more local banks, you have better opportunities to manage your online loan. If you can prepay this loan earlier, that means you're finding a loan that is actually cheaper in terms of interest rate locally. Or if you're in trouble in terms of paying the current loan, if you're on the verge of defaulting, you can actually find money somewhere else locally and not default. So although the internet is giving equal access to everybody from no matter where you live, but what you find is where you live still matters in terms of the opportunities you have in managing your debt.